What's up, you frogs? How's it kicking? I call you frogs because it's political dank house, of course. We're the frog party. Political dank house, that's my tags. They know me as L. Ron Humperdinck on the web. You know, I'm really me on the internet, but, you know, a lot of people come over from YouTube. But this is something that's getting worse and worse, and what I'm talking about is, it kind of aggravates me too. I try not to get angry, but the transgender movement, and it's great that we could talk about this on Pride Month, since I guess they're part of Pride too, because they need to be proud of, well, if I'm, you know, how can you be, well, I'm born this way, and then not have pride in it? People can say, well, people try to beat you down, and they say this and that and mean things. So really, it's not about Pride Month as in we're teaching you to have pride in yourself, which is wrong anyways, especially when you're wrong. But you're really just making Pride Month about shutting everybody else up that disagrees with you or tries to help you. Say, hey, maybe you're not gay. Have you ever thought that chopping your dick off because you think you were born in the wrong body is not a good choice? Like, if somebody were to put me in an intervention, let's say I go, wow, I really love Led Zeppelin, I love Guns N' Roses, I'm a musician, I play, or I draw, you know, I should have been born in Renaissance times, right? Back whenever art was taken serious. How many people would look at that and, you know, your parents or your mom or anybody would say, well, Dylan, I think you were born in this time period for a reason. I think there's a overarching theme in your life. You got a mission and impact. And I believe that, of course. You know, you guys have seen my other videos. I'm a theologian. I believe that there's something greater than myself at all times. And you got to be dialed into what you want. What if they were to say, well, Dylan, what if you were born in this time period to carry on the music that you like from the past? You know, because in the 70s, you get into the 80s, 90s, that's no longer 70s. And now not a lot of people would listen to Led Zeppelin. There's some people that will, you know, bring it back and you go, oh, that's nice. Or you'll see an artist who brings back a style from 1920s and he's doing it in the 2010s or whatever we would be now, the teens. 2019, we're almost out of them, but that decade wise. But you know, it's like, wow, that's refreshing. This is a guy who plays a type of style. You get what I'm saying, or draws a certain style. It's a throwback. But if they told me, hey, it would be I didn't have a time machine is the reason why people think it's different. What's the difference in me having a time machine and you were able to time travel and making that abrupt, unchangeable decision to where you can't come back? Think of SpongeBob, you remember? They could only go backwards and forwards and repeat it, you remember? All the cool kids, especially, I mean, I know I'm a millennial, but I'm 93, and so I was old enough to be out of the range, but I dig the SpongeBob stuff, so a lot of people get that reference. With the time travel, imagine not being able to go back. You can only make the decision once. I would have done it at one point because I think I was mentally not there. I was unhappy with where I was in life. I didn't have a purpose. I thought that there had been a mistake. Really what this all boils down to is someone who thinks that there was a mistake made in design. And you know me, like I said, I'm a theologian. I think that God doesn't make mistakes. He can take bullshit that people put on themselves and make it better. And I don't think that designs are flawed. I mean, when it comes to man, we mess up and things right, but as far as design of nature and how things work, and we went through art, everything's 1/3, 2/3, 1, and you take 2 of them, ooh, you know, 3, and you can go all the way up your body. Everything is just mapped out, and people could say that's by chance, but it replicates over and over. But you have things that are designed for certain things. Just like how you have people that are made for certain times. Some people would say that about a Trump. Some people would say that about some stuff that happens in World War II, you know, fate. And, well, this just happened to happen, and this type of person stood up. But yeah, some people would have taken that bargain. And like I said, I was unhappy, and I wasn't in my grandpa would say, and it's an old term, you know, like the term queer means weird, you know. We've talked about how they've appropriated that and then turned it on us and made it a hate crime to call them that. But they say they're not in their right mind. I wasn't in my right mind. That's how a lot of people commit suicide. But as far as killing myself, no. But I was thinking, man, I've got a bad lot in life. What if, some people say, what if I was born somewhere else? What if I was, and that's not saying you can't move to these places, or, you know, you have like somebody like a Jesse Lee Peterson who's born in Alabama, right? And he lives in LA now. He moved to LA. Same with Larry Elder. You know, he moved to LA from other places. And there's a lot of people that are like that, right? But to sit there and not do something externally or extrovert wise, as in like out of your body, as in like, oh, I'm going to change my job, or I'm going to change my whatever. Even stuff that I don't agree with, like tattoos, is a lot of it's still affecting you in a different way than, say, killing yourself, mutilating your body. Because, you know, if you get a tattoo, you know, I'm not for it. I think it agitates your body and things like that. With me personally, my belief has always been that I would run out of things, you know. And if you check my stuff, I try to put art on there, not to shill, but at One Man Carnival up here, see, with the underscores on Instagram, I do art, you know, so I'm always drawing something. And you see me, I'm frail. I'm not that big of a guy, and so I would eventually run out of canvas anyways. And if you've seen my art, I mean, I've got stacks and stacks, you know. It'd be like somebody who's an alcoholic trying to run a tavern, you know, it wouldn't be a good success or a good combination. Be spending all the money they make on you know, the product, so to speak. But you know, this is different. This is like, you know, chopping your dick in half. I'm going to be vulgar, of course, not purposely, but because this is what it is, and we can't talk like pusswax. You're talking about changing your gender. I mean, let's not pretend that cursing or saying crass language is the craziest thing we're discussing. And so you chop your dick in half, right? You fold it in and out. And you try to make a vagina right, and you always, and no matter what, you're always going to have to put some lubricant on it or whatever this is, or some solution they make that's also unnatural. You're fighting nature, of course, like I've said earlier with the design. The male body will fight itself and think it's an infection, a wound. The reason they have to keep doing that to keep it from closing up is because your body naturally knows as a man that that's not good to have a gash down there. You know what I mean? So don't give me that I don't feel like this, and in my mind and in my heart I don't feel like whatever in my spirit, because your fucking body knows to close that up. That what you're doing down there is mutilating. And a lot of people, you see the transgender surgery, this will make them happy. No, it won't. This is way worse. I think it's 40% at the lowest of failure of being unhappy to even suicide. And like I've said before, especially the older I get, and especially I lean conservative. I've said is that I put security over freedom in a lot of cases, and I get a lot of shit from people that are liberals or libertarian, or even people that lean right that think, you know, oh, free this, free that, total freedom. I go, yeah, but at what end? Because we've got the freedom. You've got the freedom to do, like I've said, all these things, to shoot up drugs, to chop your dick off, well, what business is it yours if somebody wants to cross-dress, right, or somebody wants to try to be 2 or 3 different genders? First of all, it affects me because it's reality. We all have to agree on a set of reality that makes sense. What we see and what we know we can pull off and do in life is how society's structured. We all have to have the same moral code for it to stay together. And you see the factions destroying each other right now because everybody's, well, this is my reality, and, well, find your truth. What does that even fucking mean? There is the truth, and there's your opinion. You don't own the truth. The truth is its own thing. It just is. And to me, I think I have a vested interest, and not that I'm going to, you know, put somebody at gunpoint to not do it, but like if we're at a party and somebody were to want to do drugs or do the surgery, you would say, you know, you can do whatever you want, or just a lesser example. So people would always want to, you know, bang these whores, right? When I went to school and all these things like that, and I'd be at a party, they'd be almost wanting to go into the room or something with them, and they were drunk, and so, you know what I mean, I was like, maybe it's not the best thing to do something that could make you have a kid or diseases or whatever. It'd be like driving a car, you know, same thing. It takes cognitive ability to execute, you know, a night of sex, I would assume. It's physical and all this stuff, and mental, and the pushing back and forth in the mind of leading each other on. It'd help for you to not be drinking. It'd help for you to not be fucking around while you're not married. You know, you shouldn't be wanting to have sex with more than one woman, or with women, with a man, you know what I mean? People treat it like it's just something to throw away, and then you look at what that's gotten us. It's gotten us, you know, pussy power, and oh, this is my body, my choice. It all stems from that thing. It stems from complete freedom. Just like with me, I go, it doesn't matter how much freedom we have, or even if abortion's legal. I'm not for it. But if it's legal, gay marriage is legal, drug use is legal, all these things, divorce even, we have a vested interest in people morally knowing, hey, it doesn't matter if it's right to do or not. Even if you legalize murder, there's people that still wouldn't murder. It'd be because the security or securing the morals of society came before the freedom to do it. And even if they've got the freedom to do it, they won't do it because they want to keep their life secure. They know that even if murder was legal, even if certain drug use was legal, even if having more than one, I want to say partner, because in that sense it'd be partners, but not the gay way, of course. Or even if you want to be gay or all this stuff, right? You got to let people know, hey, you know me. And I've got friends, they haven't disowned me or anything. They still hang around me. They like my advice on a lot of stuff. They don't always take it, but I'll always give my advice. And I go, I don't think you should be with that girl. She doesn't like you. Why would you want to be with a woman? And why would you even be sexually attracted to a woman that doesn't treat you right, and vice versa? And it sounds glib, and it sounds, you know, I don't want to say Disney-esque because I hate Walt Disney, but you know what I mean, like a Cinderella story type of thing. And I go, I'm not being glib about it. I'm being just real with you. I'm saying that this is going to create this amount of reaction. This is going to create this problem. This is going to create this whatever, this and that. And you might end up with kids. And then you're going to, even if you don't want the kids and you want to abort it, of course, it's their business. Like people say, it's your business. But they don't say, they don't mean their business as in me forcefully making them not, which I would love to do, of course. But even I can't, you know, with my morals. They want to shut down they want my body, my choice to mean that I can't use my body, as in my voice, to tell them what my choice would be. My body, my choice. See how I flipped it on them? But they don't want any criticism. That's like with this hate speech. Sure, we should treat each other better and not call each other names. Sure, I'm not against that at all. But if you want to argue that we should treat each other better, fine. But to sit there and say any criticism of me is hate speech, and when you say, hey, Valen Fox, you know, this man who says he's a woman's beating the shit out of these women. And, of course, the women have the freedom to go in there, but why? Just why? That's all I can say is why. I feel like I'm on, like, some kid who's coming out of some trance who's been on drugs for, like, 3 or 4 days, and you're waking up and just, you're like, why? Just reality, my mind. Like, when I see shit like this, I go, reality really is ripping at the threads. Let alone, like, you know, forget society, just reality. And they're pushing this drag queen story hour when kids are young in school. Why do you think they're trying to get the youth young? Even Hitler said, you know, give me the youth. And all these leaders said, give me the youth, then I can control it. Because the next generation growing up, that will be, quote unquote, normal to them. It'll be weird. And then they'll be able to pull off criticism as hate speech because you'll be going against the norm. But I'm going to show you guys what this has gotten us. I'm going to pull this over here because I know. It's going to be in the way. We'll watch this. See, I've watched this already. I'm not liking it before I do it, but who the fuck cares? Sidelined by a transgender athlete. The high school track star speaks out. So there's this girl, Selena Soul, right here, speaking out. High school track star Selena Soul was speaking out after losing a spot in the girls' track championship to 2 transgender females, which is a really, really weird way, you know, color me bigoted, but transgender females, it seems like a lot more letters used in words than you need to just say male or man. 3 letters, you know, let alone 4. And yes, I'm ribbing at them because this is piece of shit behavior. It's absolute piece of shit behavior. Sacrificing people on the altar of looking progressive. I'm putting my bad boy headset on because my other one's broke. Let's all watch this together. Make sure my thing don't come up. Okay, this thing down here. Here we go.
Connecticut junior Selena Soule won't be competing in the 55-meter dash.
Oh, and I wanted to say, I always say this to people. Maybe it's my southern type of thing, but I'm like, that's a good-looking girl, and everybody's like, in a chat one time was like, well, she's 17, be careful. And I'm like, I'm not saying I want to bang her. What the fuck? See, that's part of this degeneration of society. You say somebody looks good, or man, that you look sharp in that suit, and somebody's like, hey man, you want to fuck them? You want to marry them? You know, you two guys can get married now. We fought for it, made it legal. Bro, I'm just complimenting the dude's dress. Hey, I'm just saying that this girl, you know, is good looking, and that goes into this because she's carrying herself well. She's good looking. She's got talent in a fair world, and I know the world's not fair. But if you're purposely making it more unfair, this is where we're at. She should have a promising future. And from her track record, pun intended, literal track record, she is a rising star. And people all this time talking about men taking jobs from women and women not having fair against men. Just look at this. These people are now manufacturing, like the Oppression Olympics. They're making new victims again. They wanted to free women, and then now they're bullying the shit out of the women they fought to free, 5 decades ago.
She was edged out of the top 6 spots in part by 2 transgender runners.
And Mama sounds Hispanic, which is funny because she's an oppressed person by that measure. We always go through their rules here. We try to keep them the rules, but we try to keep them in line with themselves, the oppression hierarchy. So Hispanic and the 2 transgenders are black, so that that's a whole nother level of it. But it's funny to watch a man beat a woman out in the hierarchy, because a Hispanic woman would beat a black man in the normal Marxist hierarchy, at least by the way that they implement it. And once you start noticing it, not like you wake up, but if you start applying it and noticing it, you go, oh yeah, well, you can figure out where you think they are in this time. But it's funny that a man is beating a woman out in the pyramid, but they don't see him as a man, I guess. So maybe, I don't know if they see this as 2 women fighting. I don't know if they see it as 2 different types of women like I do, but for the different reasons, just so they can have one more group that's kind of different. Because see, like Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner, one woman of the year. This is like a humiliation ritual to women. It's like they really hate women. I know I give women a lot of shit, and I say that a man is supposed to protect women and guide women, and people think that sounds wrong, but I'm valorous in it. I'm honestly doing it for why I think, in protection. The security I went back to earlier, the security, I've said this one time and somebody tripped the fuck out on Twitter. I said, a woman wants a real man who will tell her no. Because women need saving from themselves too. People say women are just like men. They're just like anyone else. I'm anyone else. I'm a man. I want friends to be able to tell me, Dylan, don't do that. Dylan, I wouldn't drink that, or whatever, whatever it might happen to be. But when I do that to a woman, I'm patronizing her. And really, you're really just trying to guide someone. But these people, they come in and say, I want to be a woman. And Caitlyn Jenner is Woman of the Year, not even a fucking year. It's like, this is like a humiliation ritual to women. It's treating women like shit that people would try to pretend like I do. If I call a woman a cunt or say, man, she's acting like a bitch, and I'm treating her like anybody else, oh, that's humiliating women. That's degrading women. What do you think this shit's doing? Me saying some offhand comment or even a rebuttal to a woman who said something shitty to me. If some woman were to throw water in your face and you're acting like a bitch with your soaking water, people would have more problem with the voice, your voice, or what you said than the aggression, the water throwing. But here it doesn't matter. And so when they become transgender, do they just become women and they all lump them in with normal women? And I will use the term normal. Or did they purposely split, and are they still different? Oh, it's a male to female woman and a regular woman, or I guess a cis, which we don't ever use the term cis. That's them trying to get us to replace the word normal with cis, so that they can pull the shit on us. We'll just be another prefix to a name. But look at this. This is humiliating. This is humiliating women. Look, it's not the only woman that's being humiliated.
Yes, I have. I have been labeled as transphobic, and I have been labeled as a sore loser, and that I should just try harder and train faster.
Well, of course.
And I do that. But
see, this is what's also effed up, is they say just try harder. And I go, I always say stuff like, someone will tell you to try harder, and some people will go, well, I'm doing the best I can, and some people will say, I am trying harder. And it's two different types of people. And this girl seems to be someone that's like, well, I'll do what I can to try harder. She won't go, I'm trying the best I can. But at some point, a woman's going to reach a ceiling that a man's going to be able to beat her on. And you've seen this with tennis. Venus and Serena Williams, who, people would argue are transsexual themselves or take hormones that fuck their bodies up, or they're hermaphrodites, right? Even they are getting destroyed by 13 or 14, 15-year-old boy tennis players, because it has to do with the differences in people. And that's why we're in this situation, is because there's people out there. I don't like to think this. I like to think that everything is conspiratorial and everybody's shitty and just trying to stab at normalcy, right? But I honestly do think that there's people out there that might follow this shit to it's an illogical thought, right? But to its logical conclusion would be that these people have been saying for years that men and women are no different. So no wonder they would put this shit in there to think, oh, well, she should be able to compete. Men and women are no different. But on top of that merit, if men and women are no different, then why are you having people trying to transition into one or the other? And they say, well, I feel like, well, that's not, physically, literally. It just boggles the fucking mind, really.
there's no way I can be physically competitive with someone who is a man.
Men and women are different.
Connecticut State Open,
Shocker.
the indoor season, I was participating in the 55-meter race. You had to qualify from your class meet in, and I qualified in 8th place.
I like this Hertz music.
In the preliminary round, I ran close to my personal best, only a 100th of a second off of my best. And I came in 8th place, and top 7 qualify for the final, and the top.
And people would say, well, you need to break your personal best. Her personal best, which is better, she's doing better than what her best was, is still going to be under these two assholes. That, and to me, I don't think these guys are, well, I think I'm a woman, and so I'm just so confused. Be with me on this journey as we walk. We walk the track of my life. Oh, it's so hallmarky. No, I think these are pussy men, little boys, and people can cry, well, they're black, you can't call them boys. I'll call them whatever the fuck I want to. They don't want to be called boys for more reasons than one, apparently, because they'll get their ass stomped in the track. I'd love to see these people's records on the track before they pulled this shit. It's like this is literally the definition of sandbagging. It's funny that people who don't want their fucking nuts, which they really do, because they want to. People like Jenner still haven't chopped their nuts off. I say you have to chop your nuts off if you're going to do it. Commit. But they want to keep their nuts. They want to keep everything about them, and then we're still gonna. No. These people are sandbagging. They're sandbagging with their testicles, basically, because they got the testosterone advantage, and not to mention they could be taking them. And remember, when that's illegal in sports, then how come this isn't illegal in sports? Because it has to do with anatomy. But they're sandbagging. In paintball, I played D6, right, the first time, and then I had people in Division 2 that were saying, you could play with us. You could move up to where you're being challenged. You might not be the best in this division, but you'll get better because you'll be challenged. And I'm the one that likes to be the one who, in whatever we're playing, games or anything, wants to be the one that's catching up. I like to have something that I need to learn because somebody else is pushing. Call that like a Bravo to somebody's alpha, right? I'm ambitious and stuff, but if somebody's there saying, let's work on this, let's do this better, that's fun. But to sit back at D6 and say, let me just shoot up all these, with the paintball gun. A paintball gun, we're talking paintball guns, YouTube. Doop, 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 doop. And I'm running up on these people playing Snake, and I'm more athletic than all these, let's say you can play it. Well, we'll say 18, just so we can, legally have it 18. If I'm 26 now, I want to get back into playing, but if I'm 26 now, and I'm just shooting the shit out of somebody who's 18, who's just started playing and isn't in line with the way they play themselves or their team, and I'm just, wow, this team that should be in Division 1 and fighting to get into the top 2 or 3 spots, they're just, oh, the next best team had 100 points, and these people had 5,000 points on the paintball field. It's like eventually it's like, you're gonna have to move up. Oh man, I'm gonna sit at the table. Jimmy, you're 26. You're too big for a high chair, but I want it. That's what these people are. Don't ever let them act like that they're not doing this shit.
Top 6 advanced to the New England regional meet, and because there were 2 transgender athletes, that bumped me down to 8th place.
2 men pretend to be women.
Then I would have been the 6th girl. I would have been ensured a spot in the finals.
Look at this Hulk. I can't even say what I'd like to happen to these people because it's not right to do. But I can't stand the smarminess of it, and you'll see what I mean in a minute.
And I could have gained a higher placement and qualified for the New England meet.
Look.
It's extremely intimidating and frustrating being forced to compete against someone who's biologically a male.
Oh, look at me. This is what I'm talking about. Oh, look at me. I twirl my hair. I put a wig on and I twirl my hair and I wear some nails. You're not a fucking woman. You're a cross-dressing fucking loser. She wants to talk about the biological girl being a sort of loser. She's voicing her opinion against bullshit in more ways than one, because this is bullshit that's being pushed on people. And notice that they don't push for women to go into being a man. It's always men going to be a women. And you wonder why. People are going to wake up to this one day. I keep saying that men are meant to lead, and a real woman will want a man to lead and protect her and his family. And what the fuck do you think they would need to do to take over the world, to take over your community, your country, your state? Look, demasculate the men. Get them addicted to looking at porn instead of, making kids. Like wasting their seed, not getting married. Let's look up and have libidinous sex. And then now look at how far they are now. They're making men want to be women. And it's just a funny joke, but it's in jest, but it's fucked up. It's a testament to how far we are. People go, men are no different than women. And then women can, like with the Caitlyn Jenner, in less than a year, he got Woman of the Year, right? And it was just Vanity Fair doing the shit they do. But even men are better at being a woman than women. It's like their optics suck. But look, I'll twirl my hair. I'm a girl automatically.
Proven that they are bigger and stronger than women, as they.
Well, let's see this. If a girl just goes, suck it, suck it. Does that mean she's a guy now? That means she's a guy. Oh, she's got that brute nature in her, right? She told him to suck it. Oh yeah. I mean, this fucking. I mess with my hair sometimes because it's long, right? But I'm not like, me. Pay for my meal. I'd love to be a mother one day. I mean, grow the fuck up.
Have more muscle mass.
And that should tell you something too, ladies. I'm fighting for you out there. The people that think all they have to do is put a wig on and twirl their hair, or let me wear a dress and act dainty. It's like these people, I'm talking about the factions, are eating each other. You're basically lampooning and stereotyping what you think a woman would be and act like to pretend to be a woman. I don't see how people don't see this. How do people not see this?
And they have bigger organs, and it's just not a fair contest.
I keep pausing, but think of Rachel Dolezal. She wants to be black. All she did was crimp her hair, and she's like, well, I'm black now. I mean, and then, or it's like, is that all it takes? Is that all it takes? It's just, let's just have this certain hair. There's only one intrinsic thing about black people, and it's their hair. Or Shaun White, who's white as the day is long. Let me go up there and agitate and raise hell every time something happens. So all it takes to be black is to be an agitator. See, these people's optics, they don't even know what the hell they're doing.
Having a woman compete against
Or rewind it or give her respect.
As someone who's biologically a male, it's scientifically proven that they are bigger and stronger than women.
Left science tells us this.
They have more muscle mass and they have bigger organs, and it's just not a fair contest having a woman compete against a man.
I agree, and these people want to act like, well, you said that men have more mass than women and all this stuff, and they're different. Then we'll explain. But why? They're one of those people that tries to smoke too many joints and goes, yeah, the sun came out today, right? But like, why? Because I mean, that's just what it does during the day. The sun's out. Yeah, but why the You bitch, you're trying to stump somebody, and that's what this shit is. It's a bunch of pontificating ad nauseum. Well, maybe if they do this, they'll be women. Maybe if if everybody just pretends and holds their breath and counts to 3 and starts calling them miss, and we put a fucking dress on them, maybe it'll be that way. It's just nuts. And it's funny that people that claim to worship science, science is racist now. You love to see Bill Nye, who's a phony from the beginning anyways. He's sitting there, well, basically what we have here is X, Y, and XX, and it determines if it's a boy or a girl, a male, female. And here he is on his Netflix cringe special going, gender is actually a spectrum. Think of the rainbow, which we also hijacked.
Because no matter how hard she tries.
And an atheist, a militant atheist like Bill Nye loves to co-opt the rainbow from God.
Not a fair contest having a woman compete against a man, because no matter how hard she tries and how much work she puts in practice, the male will always beat her. When
this is so humiliating.
We are all at the start line. We all know that these 2 athletes are going to win. And it should be that the girls are fighting for 1st and 2nd place versus fighting for 3rd and 4th place.
That shit's heavy to me. Like, I'm not emotional about it, but I'm just, you sit back and you think, like I said, the people, but why though? That's just the way it happened. Men are more into risk-taking leadership. They have bigger muscle mass to make up for it. People can even pretend, I think low level of an evolvement of people, like after a while of walking a certain way, your body will morph, right? But I don't think we came from fucking primordial soup, right? But that's just the way it happened, and people are trying to either buck that or try to pretend they don't know that that's what it is. It's like with America. It would go, well, I'm here in America, but why? Well, the settlers came here, and yeah, but why? Well, the king was pissing them off in England, and they decided, you know what, we're gonna go. Yeah, but why did the king have to piss them off? So you're not. You're just pontificating ad nauseum, like I just mentioned earlier. These people don't want an answer. These people don't have a copacetic way of thinking. They can't even be ludicrous and keep their ludicrousness, in line with itself. Of course, because it's crazy. Craziness has no order, but you see what I mean. Like, in theory, they should be feminists worrying about this woman, but to them, feminism is making a man feel like a woman and then feel good about beating the shit out of a woman in a fight or just trucking her when it comes to track. And what she said is, it's crazy. It's a testament to her resilience, in my opinion, because she keeps running because she loves it. She knows that 1 and 2 is going to be the 2 fakers, and maybe they can get away with it even more because they're black. But she's still going out there and knowing that 1st and 2nd are already locked in the bag. It's just so stupid. That's why we have rules against sandbagging in sports, is what I was talking about earlier. If you know that somebody, it's like at an arcade game or at the carnival, right? If you keep bing, bing, bing and doing certain things, you keep playing on the kid games, and somebody's like, you know what? This professional baseball player keeps hitting a bullseye and dunking these people over and over. Maybe we should stop giving him prizes, or, hey, this isn't the one for you, or people ride a slide or something like, hey, this slide's too small for you. Like, what's next? Are people gonna fight for rights to use baby slides? I mean, they might. You know how they're pushing pedophilia. I just think it's so stupid, and she's still going out there knowing that she could lose, and how fucking humiliating and demoralizing is that, and just defeated somebody could be doing what they love to do.
Because
telling a woman, this is literally telling a woman you'll never be good enough no matter how much you try. Remember how people said that was just the worst thing ever?
in a given race, us girls, we will switch on and off with winning. It's not always the same girl each time, but when these 2 athletes participated, it is always one of them who is winning the race. This can greatly impact my future
more like
college
it.
scholarships, because on the results pages from the meets, there's no identification that these 2 athletes are transgender. They're either listed under the boys' races or the girls' races.
Ooh, ain't that cute? People love to say the transition. Oh, we're here for your transition. They act like it's having a baby. Oh, it's a journey, but they're not gonna put the fact that they're transgender. Wouldn't people who say, "Oh, I overcome being quote unquote wrong, born in the wrong body," wouldn't they want that on their record? People to know that that's where it came from. No, they don't, because it's all about muddying up male and female, that bond, the order. I'm telling you, man, all these people that I'm opposed to, and I'm no saint, but all these people that I'm opposed to are for chaos. I'm for order, They're for chaos.
And unless the
And expressing
college
yourself
coach
is not
would go and
chaos.
type into Google these athletes' names, or have watched one of
I
the
love
TV
that
show
bullshit. Look at
segments
this face, this fake fucking face for the camera, acting like it's
on
tough.
girls' races. And unless the
Oh.
college coach would go and type into Google
It's just so
these
hard.
athletes' names, or have watched one of the TV show segments on this, they would have no idea these athletes are transgender. But they're going to see that
How?
their times are way higher than
How would they not be able to tell? They're ugly women. They look like men. Maybe because I'm biased, because I've studied proportion, because of art. But you cannot fool me. That goes for Michael Obama too. You cannot fool me.
any other girl in the field.
And we're all
they're gonna wanna
pretending
recruit or
to make
try
them feel better.
recruit those
We're
two athletes.
changing our
I've gotten
reality
attacked
for
by
them.
some of the media. I don't pay too much attention to it because I know that majority of the stuff will be negative. But I've had people reach out to me on social media as well as athletes from other schools, and they've thanked me for my speaking out. And right now, currently, in Connecticut, I am the only girl who is speaking out. Everyone else is too afraid. And for
So
me,
she's a brave girl
speaking
too.
out, it's not always easy, but I know that this isn't right, and I'm going to do whatever I possibly can
Excuse me, and to stop it at that point is perfect. Well, we'll finish it.
to bring back fairness to my sport.
Do whatever she can to bring back fairness to her sport. So actually, I take it back. She's not brave. People that love to study the difference in words will know. Brave is when you're like a young kid. Oh, I'm going to jump off of the diving board into the deep end. It's not. It's brave, but it's not smart. See, the only reason that they're brave. I don't want to use courage because I'm trying to go into that, but the reason they think they're courageous is because they don't know what the risk could be of dying. When you're courageous, you know what can happen to you, and you still do it anyways. And this is what this girl's got. This girl was talking about just now. Well, I know that there's no one else standing up with me. And it's not very feminist. You know, women are supposed to stick together. Apparently not. This looks like leftism and degeneracy and progressivism. It trumps, women power and women sticking together. And I would say that men are sticking together, but it looks like a lot of these fairies are going out and saying, I rebuke being a man so I can go, beat up on women and pretend like I'm a good athlete. And who knows? I don't even think they're doing it for scholarship money, like, being grifters. I think it's just to shit on women. I think it's part of this degeneracy. I think it's just to demoralize women. And I think these two fruitcakes know that they're doing that. And we'll look at, I'm going to do this just in case. There we go. I wanted to see this. This is a, dissenter. If you don't have it, I would recommend it. It's pretty cool. I don't live or die by it, right? But I'll click on this. Sometimes you'll see up here, you'll post comments that you can't, or even if they ban comments, like these Gillette commercials. But look, Broken One. I don't know any of these people, but let's see. Here I am. Hee 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 hee. Woman Carnival. Just to bring it up. Sorry. Stop having sex out of wedlock. But anyways, here they are. Watch this. Broken Ones. This is 7 hours ago. It says, I've said it before. Mentally disabled people who think they are female and males' bodies should have their balls removed. I like this guy. And wait a minute. Minimum of 18 years to compete. I guess the testosterone's down. I like this guy. And these people that are pushing this shit are making these quote unquote monsters that they're afraid of because it's reactionary. I'll admit I'm reactionary as hell. But look, like if someone's giving you something to react to and you must, then how can you not be a reactionary? I'm just defending normalcy becomes reactionary. I guess I'm reactionary. And wait a minimum 18 years to compete. They will also need to wear loosely filled so sand goes all over the place. Loosely filled 45-pound sandbags around their neck, hanging down on their back. This is the only way to make things fair. See, literally sandbagging. See, that's the joke. Is that somebody is so good, you might as well put sandbags on them because they won't move up. You need to make it harder for them in some ways because they refuse to go. I think people should be kicked out of these divisions if they refuse to move up into harder divisions. Like if you think of boxing and other things, right? Someone is like the heavyweight champion of the world. I think I can take this off. But somebody is heavyweight champion of the world, and they say, well, I'm just going to sit here and not fight for 5 years. You can't keep being the heavyweight champion of the world for 5 years. There's rules to that. You have to challenge people, or you have to accept being challenged for the belt. You can't just sit on it, and that's what these people are doing when they sit at the top of the worst instead of the worst of the best, for lack of a better term. I'm not calling these people bad, but you see what I mean. Best of the worst, worst of the best is in the middle. These people want to be on the ceiling instead of move up and be the floor and move up. And this is the only way to make it fair. I'll give my like. Snake right here. I don't know any of these people again. No, all of that should be outlawed, and they should be put on hormone therapy and treatments that helps to promote and encourage the natural development into their adult biological sex. So he's saying when people are quote unquote confused, instead of giving them, I'm for giving them hormones, don't give them the fucking opposite sex hormones. If these people genuinely are guys and think, well, I might be a woman, or I feel more like or they're being told, well, this is a female trait, or caring and having compassion, or not wanting to murder and stuff, that's intrinsically woman, when really it's just moral behavior. They're going to put that thoughts in their head, and they're going to think they're a female. Why not? It'd be like saying, I have a drug addiction problem, and you go in and they go, well, we'll just give you your drug of choice because the problem is that you don't have it, right? You're jonesing. No, you need to give them something that's going to make them not think about having the drug. Give them a way of life, or put them on detox. You don't fund the opposite direction, if that makes sense. So I like this guy's response too. He said we need to put men on male hormones and boost their testosterone if they think they're confused, not help them to deteriorate. And so Broken One here replies. He says, LOL, force them to be male, and he's laughing. And he says, yeah, exactly. Force men to be men and women to be women, because obviously forcing them to be the opposite of what they are biologically isn't working on multiple levels. And I think that's probably one of the best way to end it, really. What a way to sum it up. I'm trying to think of what he just said, because it's just so profound to me. Not profound, but just like the truth sometimes in the sea of lies is like a beacon from a lighthouse. So you guys tell me what you think. I may sound like a bleeding heart. And yeah, I'm looking more and more like the liberal here, because people think liberal just means do whatever you want, pandemonium. Look what that's got us. I'm for, ensuring that people have fairness, and I'm no tart like a fairness. Life is unfair. Life, sucks in not a pessimistic way. Bad things are going to happen. But when things are manufactured like this, you tell somebody you're not always going to win. But to have somebody say you're never going to win, you're always going to lose. I mean, look at what you're doing to these people. You're demoralizing them. And you're attacking women, too. For shame. Too bad it's not Women's Month, so people could give a shit. Political Dank House. At political_Dank House. Elron Humperdinck. I'm more active on the DJ of the Twitter. But you know what to do, guys. Hop to it.